Yeah, I've got to put a ground in for those two radios, the tracker and the cell phone amplifier in the upper rear baggage compartment. There's a tab there on one of the frames that I cleaned out and put a nut zert in, number 6 nut zert, so I could have a good solid airframe ground. Then I'm going to make up a ground strap to go from that to the radios, and then with the radios then I'll be able to run the ground, the internal ground out of the radios out to the stud that I put this ground strap on. I've got this roll of ground wire. It's tinned ground wire, so I'm going to cut off about 16 inches of the wire. And then I'm going to flare out the end of it here. I take my soldering iron and I put melt a little bit of flux into it. Then I'm going to heat it up and fill this weave on the end with solder. And I want it to spread out all over that wire, so I'm going to have to move the soldering iron a couple times. I don't want the solder to just be on top of the wire. I want it to penetrate the wire real good and get in there and fill that weave. Ouch, that's hot. And so we got to get it good and hot enough that it melts the solder and bonds the solder to the wire itself. And once I get it all filled up, I'm just going to take the soldering iron, smooth that all out so there's no protrusions on it. Force it right down into that weave. And see, it's penetrated both sides, so if I bring the heat on this side, then that'll pull that solder through to this side too. Now that end is all filled. Got a nice broad end there, all filled with solder. I'm going to do the same thing with the other end. Just pull that braid out. I give myself a good 3/4 of an inch to an inch. Okay, there we go. Now that side is tinned. This side is cooled off to the point where I can work it. I'm going to take a pair of scissors and just trim the rough edge off and round that over. Make a nice end on that, and then take a little file and smooth that all out. Okay, I've got that all smoothed out, nice and round, any hairs to cut off of it. There's a nice pretty end on it. And you heat that up so the solder flows over any ends that maybe had some exposed copper from the trimming, and get it hot so I can wipe off the flux. And we'll let that side cool off while we do the same thing to this side. Okay, now I got two nice flat ends, and I'm going to take my Roper Whitney punch, and I've got a 5/32 punch and die in there. Ouch, that end's still hot. So we'll go do this end, it's cool. I got a 5/32 punch and die in there. I'm just going to stick this in there, kind of center that a little bit, and punches out real nice and easy, and we have a nice clean hole in there for a mounting hole. There's a nice wire ground strap with terminal ends of it on it that aren't going to come off and aren't going to corrode and become a problem down the road. And here's a number 6 screw, just fits right in there real nice. Now I've got a little number 6 copper washer. I'm going to put that on between the screw head and the ground strap, just to make sure and get good ground, and then I'll put a stainless steel washer on the bottom of it. Here's my ground. This one goes right down into a tab on the airframe, so it should be a solid airframe ground. And here's my strap. Got it going in right around, and then we put it in here. There'll be a ground wire coming out of this plug, and I'll just run that ground wire over to this post right here, and the same with this smooth talker here. But this will give me a good solid airframe ground.